Okay, this demo is going to be on the template C34. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and get into AutoCAD. We're going to do a new and go to our template file. And let's do template there. Okay, I'm going to go to the Model tab and turn off my grid, and let's get this thing started. All right, the part you're going to be doing is the template. Looks something like that. And it's got a natural center point, you'll notice, to it. So we're going to kind of start with that natural center point, which is, right there. All right, so here we go. Let's put this on the object layer. And I'm going to turn ortho on. Ortho on is going to allow me to make straight lines, so don't mess that up. If you make a straight line, or don't make a straight line in the beginning, this thing kind of turns into a train wreck. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm going to turn off the line weights now. I don't like using those, and I'm going to turn off ortho. Okay. Also on my O snaps, let's go ahead and set the O snaps to intersection and endpoint. I like those two to start off with. Okay. So I think the best way to start this is just let's get the the middle, the 250. So we have a diameter of 250 in the middle. So that's kind of an easy one. So circle, center diameter, circle is there, and we have a 2.5 like that. Okay, so I made my center lines a little long. That's okay. All right. Next, we need to find the center points for these 5 holes. The 5 holes are a diameter of 0.62. Let's start this with the 212s. Let's go up and down, so vertically. So 212 and 212. So we're going to go to offset, offset, and we're going to go 2.12. We're going to go 212 up and 212 down. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and get the other side. Now we have a 0.88 here and a 175 here. I'm giving you a warning now. If you don't do 88 and then 175, this part's going to be wrong. Don't go 88 this way and then go 88 to the right. The part will be wrong and you have to go back and redraw the thing. It really does mess up the thing in the end. I'll show you at the end. So 0.88 and 175 from there. So offset. 0.88. We're just going to go 0.88 to the right, and we're not going to go to the left. We're not going to go 88 to the right. From the left, we're going to offset again, and we're going to do 1.75. From here, 1.75. So you'll see that it looks the same, but they're not. They're just a little bit off, and it will matter at the end, you'll see. Okay, next. Let's go ahead and get these other holes right here. So this one and that one. And you'll see the 125 and the 125. So from the ones we just drew, offset 1.25. We're going to go 1.25 going this way and 1.25 going that way. Okay. So we actually have the location for all of our 5 holes. And you'll notice that the 5 holes have a diameter of 0.62. Let's go ahead and plunk those in. So circle, center diameter. Let's do the first one here, 0.62. And then let's copy those here and here and here and here and here. All right. Next, let's go ahead and do the arcs on the outside here. You'll see the radius 0.62. We have a couple of those. I'm going to draw those as full circles and then trim them rather than trying to do an arc. So circle, center, radius. Center point would be here, and the radius would be 0.62. And then we'll take that and we'll copy it from here to here. And you can see it's pretty obvious here that there's a line going from there to there. Okay, a couple of tricky parts on this. One of them is the part we're going to do next. So we have this radius 0.62, and then we have this other arc that's 1.25. This 1.25 and this 0.62 never touch each other. They never touch each other. There's a straight line in between them right there. It's not very big, just a little bit there. And so we have to draw that. So let's go ahead and do a line. You're not going to know how long this is, and it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to go and draw that down like that, just a little ways. Do the same thing on the other side, just, yeah, you know, right around there. Just make sure you're drawing straight. See how my line was off there? You might want to turn ortho on to make sure that that thing goes straight. Okay, perfect, just like that. Turn ortho back off again. Next, now we still can't draw this arc right now because we don't really have a logical center point. What we need is we need this line on the outside right here. And then we also need a line coming across. So see the 50 and the 1 right here, the 50 and the 1. Let's do that. In order to get those, see the 550? So we're going to do 550 and go half one way and half the other way. See, half 550 would be 275. So let's do that one first. So we're going to offset 2.75. We're going to take that middle and 2.75 and 2.75. Then, if we see the 50 and the 1, we need that. So we're going to use those to get that line. So we're going to offset 0.50. We're going to offset up 0.50 and down 0.50. So you'll see now that we have that line right there. Okay, let's see. Let's just do a little trim here. Now, you know what? I'm going to wait on the trim. Let's do the arc first. So the arc is actually tangent to this line and tangent to this line. So it goes something like this. And you'll see that the arc, oops. You'll see that the arc is a 1.25. And again, it's tangent to this straight line coming across that we have and this vertical line. So here we go. We're going to go circle, tangent and radius, tangent to the straight line and tangent to the straight line, and the radius 1.25. See how that circle kind of wedges in there? It's exactly what we're looking for. And again, notice that these circles never touch each other. When you do your sketch, you need to kind of be aware of that. Okay, let's do the same thing on the other side. Circle, tangent and radius. I'm going to go tangent, tangent, and 1.25, just like that. Okay, now we have the opportunity to do a little bit of trimming here before we do the bottom part. Let's do that. Let's go trim. Let's pick some of the things involved in the trim here. That and that. Let's see, how's that looking? That actually looks pretty good. I'm going to hit enter, and let's get rid of this and that. And let's get rid of some of this outside circle stuff. Like that. And the straight line. Like so. And see how it goes straight just a little bit before it goes into the curve? Okay, perfect. That actually looks reasonably good. Now, we don't really need this line here, and we don't need this line here. We just needed it for the arc. Oh, you know what? I'm going to undo that for a second. I do need it for one more thing. I need this line right here because we're going to make the 45-degree line in here. So I'm going to wait on that trim. Okay, so what we have now is we have this 45-degree line, and it comes off of that corner that I just erased that I shouldn't have. See the 45? So this is something I haven't shown you before. We're going to set this thing called polar tracking up, and this is the way you do it. We're going to go down here to polar tracking, hit the arrow. We're going to set this to 45, and we're going to turn it on. With polar tracking set at 45, we're going to make a line. See that green line right there? See that green line? That's polar tracking. And we're going to let it track at 45 degrees. I'd go a little bit farther than I need to. Let's do the same thing going the other direction. I'm going to go from here, 45. You could stop there if you want. I'm just going to go more farther than I need to, but keep it on the green line. Okay, just like that. So that's tracked very nicely at 45 degrees. All right, now if you look at the part, we have this 488 that's going to kind of cut it off for us, and it comes from this center line here, one of those first ones we drew, the 212 one. So we're going to offset. Offset distance is 4.88. We're going to pick this line here, and we're going to go 48 down. And you can see where the trimming is going to happen on the bottom there. All right, so the part's looking pretty done almost. We're gonna just have to go in there and trim a little bit. Let's see, trim. I don't know if I want to pick all of these lines. Let's just go ahead and pick some of the ones that are involved in the trim. Otherwise, we're going to have a jillion lines to trim here. Something like that. I'm going to hit enter, and let's get rid of some of the excess lines here. That, and 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 that. Oops, I got a little more to do here. Trim. Pick those two. Enter. Get rid of that and that. All right, you can sort of see the part in there. I've got some extra lines on the outside here. I'm just going to pretty much delete those. I don't really need any of those extra lines. We don't need the center lines either, so I'm just going to go in there and start carving that thing up here like that. And you can sort of see the part left over. Okay, so let's see, what are we going to do with that part? Yes, we are going to put center lines in it, right? So let's go ahead and go to the center line layer, and we'll do center marks, annotate, center mark, and let's do it like this. Let's pick the arc, the circle, the circle, the circle, and the circle. And then the last thing you're going to do is you're going to do this outside arc here. Now, how can I tell if you did that very first part correct? Remember the 0.88 and the 1.75? Watch this. See the center line, how it hits right on the line? But if you come to the other side, notice that it misses a little bit. See that? It's because they're not exactly the same. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this and just move it over to here like that. So that's what the part looks like when it's all done. All right, that's pretty much it. We're going to want to take those center lines and just connect them up. Just show that there's alignment to those because those are probably lined up like that. And just kind of like that. That's what I'm looking for right there. That's the finished part. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the border there. Obviously, this is going to be the template C34, whatever today's date is. We'll go ahead and turn off the text too. We haven't made a mistake yet. And let's do the viewport. Viewport, layout, rectangle, rectangle. Let's cut the viewport and see if this thing fits at full size. Let's see, picking the viewport, right-click properties, and let's see, standard scale, 1:1. That fits beautifully. All right, I'm going to double-click inside and just move this just a little bit to the left there. And that is C34, the template.